Hi class, so we're back for another lesson for today. So before we start our lesson for today, let me remind you that attendance is a must. So all you have to do is comment your name, ID number, and your class section in the comment box below. I will be the one to check your attendance. Don't forget because it serves as your attendance for today's session. So, today, we're going to have does or do with long answers, meaning does in questions and their long answers. So before that, let's review do and does. When are we going to use them? So always remember, if you're going to use do and does, the verb that comes next after it must be in the base form. Base form means it doesn't have an S, doesn't have an ed, the root word itself. So here are examples. So does he like dancing? So we have here does, and the verb that comes after it is like. So like here doesn't have an S, doesn't have an ed or d. It is the like or the root word itself. Another example, do they play guitar? So do, the verb that comes after it is the word or the verb play. So play here doesn't have an S or ed. It's the word itself, the root word itself. So before we go to answering the questions, do or does, let's review the present tense or the subject-verb agreement. Now, for singular subject, always remember that it has an S in the verb. Example, he eats pizza every day. He is a singular subject. Singular means only one. So, that's why the verb eats has an S. Another example, she bakes cake for her mom. She here is a singular subject, only one. That's why the verb bake, bakes, has an S. Another example, it lives in fresh water. It is the singular subject, that's why lives has an S. So it lives in fresh water. Now how about plural subject? So for plural subject, it has no S in the verb. Example, they eat pizza every day. So they here is a plural subject. Plural means more than one, two or more or many. That's why the verb eat doesn't have an S. So they eat pizza every day. Next, we bake cakes for our mom. So we is a plural subject. More than one, two or more, or many. That's why the verb bake doesn't have an S. It's only bake. Now, there are also special cases like I and you. So for I and you, say for example, I eat an apple. You sing very well. So for I and you, they are special cases. You will not put letter S in the verb if you're going to use I and you, because sometimes you is considered plural. Although I is singular or singular subject, but it doesn't have an S in the verb. Always remember. The same thing with you. You can be singular or plural subject in different cases, case to case basis. That's why you only put you only put sing without S because they are special cases. Now, let's go back to how are we going to answer does and do questions. So, does he like dancing? So, yes, he likes dancing. So, the answer is in present tense. So, as you see, likes here has an S. So, this is present tense, meaning it happens today or now. Did not happen yesterday. So it has an S because the subject he is singular, meaning only one. So that's why it has an S. So yes, he likes dancing. Next. Do they play guitar? So yes, they play guitar. The answer is also in present tense. So play here doesn't have an S because they is a plural subject, meaning more than one, two or more, or many. Now, I, you, we, you, and they use do in sentences or in questions. And for he, she, and it, they use does in questions or in sentences. So this is the question pattern. So we're going to write our question. So do I play? Do you play? Does he play? Does she play? Does it play? Do we play? Do you play? Do they play? So that is the sentence pattern or the question, how we're going to write your questions using does or do. So you're going to answer if short responses or short answers, you say yes, blank, do if positive, and no, blank, don't if negative. Another one, yes, blank, and for does, and for does, you're going to say yes, blank, does if it is positive, and no, blank, doesn't if it is in negative. And try to study this one. This is very helpful, especially when you're going to have your exam. So, he, she, and it, and their long answers. As what I have said earlier, he, she, and it are singular subject, meaning their verbs doesn't have an S. It has an S. I'm so sorry. It has an S. So, for example, this one, answer becomes answers. Give becomes gives. Help becomes helps. Play becomes plays. Study becomes studies. Go becomes goes. So for this one, this is a special case also, the word study. So here, play, you just add letter S because the next word or the next letter before, the letter before Y is letter A. It is a vowel. It is a vowel. That's why you only add S. But for the word study, the letter before Y is D, and D is a consonant. That's why you're going to change Y into I, and you're going to add ES. And for example, another example is the word goes. So the word go ends with letter O. So you're just going to add ES. So it will be goes. So these are used in positive responses. Positive responses. They have S. Now, how about this one? Doesn't answer, doesn't give, doesn't help, doesn't play, doesn't study, doesn't go. So these are used in negative responses. So doesn't is the contraction of the word does and not, so it becomes doesn't. So look at the verbs here. The verb answer, give, help, play, and study. It doesn't have an S because they come after the word does. Although it has int, it still does. So as I've said earlier, the verbs that comes after does and do doesn't have an S or in base form, root word. So these are used in negative responses or answers. Now let's try. Let's have this one. Does your friend study in the afternoon? Look at the girl. She brings her book. So give me the positive answer, long answer. That means it doesn't have doesn't. So you say, yes, she studies in the afternoon. So study here becomes studies because you're going to change Y to I and add ES. So you say, yes, she studies in the afternoon. This answer is in present tense, simple present tense. Another example, does the cat drink milk? Does the cat drink milk? Look at the cat. The cat is looking at a box of milk. So give me the positive answer, long answer. So you say, yes, it drinks milk. So for this one, this is a present tense or simple present tense. Drinks has an S, or the verb drinks has an S because it is only one. You use it if it is an animal. Next, does Katie answer her cell phone? So give me the positive long answer. Look at her. Is she answering her phone? So your answer is yes, she answers her cell phone. So this is positive. All you have to do is add S to answers because she is singular subject. So you're going to put S to its verb. This is a simple present tense. Again, simple present tense. Next, does Peter wear glasses? Oh, look at Peter. Is he wearing glasses? So give me the long, positive long answer. So yes, he wears glasses. So wear becomes wears. You add S because it's a simple present and the subject is singular. This one, does she carry books? What is your answer? Give me the positive long answer. Carry becomes carries. So yes, she carries book. So she is only one singular subject. That's why carry has ES. So all you have to do is change Y into I and add ES because the letter that comes before Y is R. It's a consonant. That's why you're going to change this way. Change Y to I and add ES. It becomes carries. Next, does the turtle fly? Does the turtle fly? Give me the negative long answer. Negative means it has, doesn't. So the answer is no, it doesn't fly. So negative. So fly becomes doesn't fly. So as you can see here, fly didn't change at all. It didn't become flies because we have doesn't. The word does. Next, does the dog bite? Yes or no? Give me the negative long answer. So it's no, it doesn't bite. It's negative. So bite becomes doesn't bite. Okay? So bite here doesn't have an S because we have doesn't or does itself. Another one. Does he play with a ball? Look at him. Is he playing with a ball? So give me the negative long answer. So the negative long answer is no, he doesn't play with a ball. Play becomes doesn't play. It doesn't have an S because we have doesn't. Again, let me remind you, verbs that comes before does and do doesn't have an S or always in the base form, the root word. Now, always remember class, do, does questions are answered in present tense. Present tense, not past tense, because it happens today, not yesterday. Now, before we end our class, let me give you something to study. So, does he have a job in the afternoon? So, the answer is yes, he has a job in the afternoon. You cannot say, yes, he has a job in the afternoon. So, we're going to talk about that one when we meet again. So that's all for today, class. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to comment your name and your ID number in your class section because it serves as your attendance for today's session. So again, don't forget. So that's all for today, class. Bye. Thank you.